The year 2000 exposed deep fractures in the American voting process. Between chaotic recounts, hanging chads, and unprecedented Supreme Court rulings, the public watched a system buckle under pressure. 4 years later, long lines and heavy scrutiny over electronic voting machines in states like Ohio amplified the anxiety. Voters on both sides of the aisle were openly questioning the validity of the final tallies. A consensus quickly formed among lawmakers and the public alike. The physical mechanics of voting were failing. The infrastructure was vulnerable, and it required a serious, objective overhaul. To stop the bleed of public trust, the country needed a unified, practical blueprint to secure the ballot box without restricting legitimate voters. In 2005, the Commission on Federal Election Reform was established to find that blueprint. By selecting a former Democratic president and a former Republican Secretary of State as co-chairs, the commission aimed to move past partisan gridlock. They produced 87 practical recommendations. The core philosophy was simple. A functional democracy must maximize voter access while simultaneously applying strict security safeguards. You need both to maintain trust. Over the next 20 years, America's largest state took a different path. California lawmakers adopted the access components of the report while setting aside the security measures. By decoupling ease of voting from the recommended verification steps, California created a procedural gap that separates its practices from the Commission's original intent. Comparing the Carter-Baker blueprint to California law reveals where the systems part ways. The Commission recommended requiring a government-issued photo ID to verify who is voting. California went the opposite direction. State law prohibits poll workers from asking the vast majority of voters for photo ID. Instead, state officials rely on signature matching. A worker compares the signature on the outside of an envelope to an older one stored on file. It is a subjective visual comparison that can lead to frequent disputes and high error rates. When you remove an objective metric like a photo ID and replace it with a visual signature guess, you lose a layer of verifiability that the Commission considered essential to the chain of trust. This is an official absentee ballot envelope. The Carter-Baker Commission studied these processes and issued a clear warning. Absentee voting remains the largest single source of potential voter fraud. California policymakers moved forward despite this warning, eventually making universal mail-in voting permanent across the state. Today, counties automatically mail a live ballot to every active registered voter by default. If a signature check fails or is missing, the state uses a permissive curing process to eventually push those ballots through the system. This relies on perfectly maintained voter databases. Yet California has historically faced challenges in maintaining its voter rolls, which often contain outdated records, duplicates, and people who have moved or died. Mailing millions of live ballots based on unverified, bloated lists increases the volume of unaccounted-for mail pieces circulating in the system, fueling the exact skepticism the Commission hoped to avoid. These policy choices cascade down from Sacramento and hit local communities hard. Voters in Shasta County deal with the symptoms of this divergence every election cycle. Local counting centers spend weeks processing massive piles of mail-in envelopes. Staff get bogged down by disputes over scribbled signatures matching digital files. Those delays leave residents in the dark. It creates friction around close local outcomes, like recent Board of Supervisors races and Measure B, leaving voters questioning the final tallies. The Commission warned that without visible, ironclad safeguards, voters lose the ability to verify the process for themselves. Today, Shasta County is navigating the exact tension the Commission aimed to prevent. Rebuilding a truly secure system starts with citizens taking 4 practical steps. First, support ballot initiatives that reinstate common-sense photo ID requirements. Second, demand your county officials conduct fully transparent audits and aggressively clean the local voter rolls. Third, step off the sidelines and volunteer as a poll watcher to monitor the process firsthand. Finally, stay informed on exactly how local policies are being applied. For honest, deep-dive coverage of North State issues and election integrity, readers turn to Shasta Unfiltered. Visit shastaunfiltered.com to read the full breakdown of California's election policies. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your neighbors to help spread the facts.